So, my dear friends, today we invited a celebrity in front of you. The celebrity is a very, very popular because he's in a medical by profession, by medical doctor, but passion he can change the thoughts of anyone. That is the vocabulary, his talk, his style, his speaking, everything is extraordinary. He is in a trainer and also he is in a doctor, but he's a very close to our Impact Foundation. So he's my friend. I would like to invite in front of you Dr. Vivek Modi in front of you. Sir, floor is yours, sir.
Namaskar.
Floor is yours.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar. Sir, first of all, many thanks to Gampa, sir. For those who are not aware, actually, in the beginning of my training career in 2010, I really sought advice of Gampa, sir, before getting into training field completely. Because I'm a medical doctor, I was working in corporate world, and my last job was as a chief operations officer. And from there, I decided to become a wellness trainer. Not just treating patient, but avoiding teaching them health so that they don't have to even come to hospital. It's like promotion of health. That is my work. So now primarily for last 10 years, I'm working as a professional speaker, and primarily I take workshops on holistic wellness for personal and professional excellence. So these are all workshops for 3 to 5 days where I teach people about physical health, mental health, spiritual well-being. And other than that, I'm passionate about public speaking. I teach public speaking and leadership. So in fact, on Impact, a majority of the students and the audience, I want to thank because couple of videos what I have delivered lectures on Impact platform, they have been widely appreciated, and my humble thanks to all of you. And because of that, I keep on coming to the topic about communication and English speaking, because this is purely because of demand, not because of my competency in English. In fact, I was just telling to Gampa sir, I am not an English teacher, and even I am myself not very capable of teaching somebody English. But it is your love and support to Impact Foundation and your appreciation of my videos, which makes me talk on the same topic again, just because of your love. So now today's topic is a communication skill. And here I want to say few very important things. One key thing which all in the audience should understand is there are skills and there are meta skills. When I say meta skills, skills of skills, skill which help you in developing every other skill, that is called meta skill. Okay, meta means one level high. So when we are learning communication skill, I do not consider it just a skill. I consider it as a meta skill because it will help us not only in improving our communication in general, but it will increase our chances of everything else. For example, a good communicator will usually be a good parent, a good employee, a good boss. Your interpersonal skills demands good communication skills. Your leadership skills demands good communication skills. Your marketing and sales skills demands good communication skills. So without having good communication skill, a person often finds it difficult to get noticed. It is one thing to have great ideas. It is one thing to have extraordinary ability to complete some work and your skills, but it is completely different skill set to take that idea to the world. How will the world know that you are capable? How will people listen to you? In today's world, it is extremely important to develop this ability that people can listen your ideas carefully. In general, what we see that the attention span of people in general is shrinking. People are not ready to listen to someone for a long time. If you look at the YouTube video trends and majority of the video trends, only the short videos become very popular. Long videos hardly people watch for a long time because we don't have that kind of attention span in today's world. So it is even more important for all of us to invest in these skills. Now, post lockdown, we all know that there will be a challenge of jobs. There will be a challenge for many businesses, for many entrepreneurs. In every area, there is going to be a lot of challenge, but also a lot of opportunity. And in that, I feel this time of lockdown should be invested in developing these meta skills, because these skills will help you in developing every other skill. It will give value to your competence, to your ability. So first point comes about communication skill is why it is important, because it gives value to your every other skill. Whether you are a businessman, student, parent, teacher, salesperson, it really doesn't matter. You need good communication skill so that people will listen to you, will follow your ideas, and your good ideas will get some traction in the society. So that is point number one about importance of communication. In 1893, we know Swami Vivekananda, when he delivered that 4-minute speech in World Parliament of Chicago, it was a true testimony to the world that what is the soft power of India. Now here the point I want to highlight is public speaking is also a part of communication skill. And in that you see, because Vivekananda could put forward his views in 4 minutes in front of the world, the way world looked at Indians, the way we were seen by the Western countries, it changed. Within 4 minutes, a new perception, the beginning of new India happened in the perception of the world. This was the power of communication, you see. Because there were many other extraordinary speakers, but Vivekananda had taken the world by storm by his exceptional ability to speak. So that was again power of communication. Yes, there were some other things. Vivekananda's personality itself was so attractive that people were drawn, not just by public communication skill. But the thing is, here again, the highlight is communication skills. If you see our present Prime Minister, one of the key area of his success is because of his extraordinary ability to communicate with masses. There are many people with great ideas, but very few can talk with a lot of impact on the masses. You see at the offices in general, there are some people who work very well and communicate very well. There are some people who don't work but only communicate. And there are some people who neither work, neither talk. And there is one more category who work very well, but they don't know how to talk about their work. So whenever performance appraisal is happening, whenever boss is asking, tell me what did you do in last year, how was your performance, they are not able to talk. Whenever salary negotiations are happening, they are not able to communicate well. They are not able to highlight their skills. And because of that, they do not get due what they need, their competency, they do not get equivalent amount of weightage just because they don't have good communication. So I have listed few points first to highlight the importance of communication. Without communication, it becomes very difficult to grow in career. So notice that point. Now the second point comes is, how do we develop this communication? See, in this 20 minutes, I want to, 25 minutes, I think more are there. I will be talking primarily about few things from attitude point of view we need to develop in order to become good communicator. I will also talk about how to improve English communication, because that is one major demand have come from people. I come from a pure Hindi medium background from a small town in Rajasthan. Till I did my MBBS first year, till I entered into my MBBS, I never spoke to anyone in English. My entrance also, everything was in Hindi medium. And I could not speak even few perfect sentences in conversation with anyone in English. In fact, I remember when first time I got into aircraft from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, my first worry was, how will I talk to air hostess in English? You know, that was the worry. You know, you understand the small town, how we are sometimes frightened by the world of English. And I will share what helped me to overcome this challenge of studies in English, communication in English in my first year of graduation in my MBBS. Okay, so The first point comes, if you want to develop communication skill, is first and foremost becoming a willing communicator. This point should be noted. Becoming a willing communicator means, am I a person who talks, or am I a person who is always quiet, always waiting for somebody else to speak? How will you know whether you are a willing communicator or not? Try to contemplate whenever you are traveling in the train, or maybe you are sitting in some government office, you're waiting for your turn to come, and there are people around you. Do you open your mouth or you keep shut? In the train, India being such a big country, sometimes we travel for 12 hours, 24 hours. Do you communicate with your people in your surrounding, or you keep quiet? If you are a person who keeps quiet, who doesn't speak, who waits for somebody else to speak, it means you need to increase your ability. You are not a willing communicator. You are waiting. You are hesitant. You are thinking that let somebody else speak, then I will speak. You are not comfortable in breaking a communication. Breaking means initiating a communication, ice breaking. So first thing and foremost thing in order to become a good communicator is you need to start developing this ability to communicate. Become a willing communicator. Don't wait for others to speak. You take a chance. It is also a subtle leadership trait. Leaders want to be heard. They are not shy of expressing their ideas. So please find out what are the reasons which stops you to speak. I'll tell you the common reasons. One reason could be you are thinking that what will others think if I speak, and therefore you don't speak. Our ego comes in between. We think that why should I talk? That person should talk. Second major reason what I found is, if the other person is English speaking, then many people who are not very fluent in English, they are hesitant. In our country, this is so unfortunate that English is not just a medium of communication. English has been given a status. So here automatically the scenario is such that the people who speak in English, they feel we are superior to people who are speaking in their mother tongue. This is an unfortunate scenario. This is what English people, Britishers wanted us to feel. They wanted us to feel inferior for not knowing their language. This is the trap. So what I suggest all of the people who are listening to me is, while you can give respect to any language, just like any other language, don't consider any language superior or inferior. They are all languages. And in fact, if at all we have to feel little bit of shy or shameful, we should feel ashamed of not knowing our own mother tongue well. Many of us are not actually very good even in our own mother tongue, but we don't feel shy. When I came to Hyderabad, I'm basically from Rajasthan. When I came to Hyderabad and I heard Hyderabadi Hindi, I forgot my Hindi. But what has they done for Hindi? But nobody is ashamed here. Everybody speaks in Hindi because after all, we want to communicate. And that is why we should understand here that English is just a language. If we consider it just like any other language, just like Tamil, just like Malayalam, just like Kannada, just like that Marathi, just like that English is a language. And anybody who is born in an English speaking country will speak in English naturally. There are people who are illiterate even in England. There are people in many English speaking countries who cannot sign their name, who cannot read, but they speak in English. If we go by the mindset of Indians, we will think that they are all highly educated just because they are speaking in English. So that is a false narrative. Educated youth needs to correct it. Respect English, learn English, wherever required, speak in English, but don't feel yourself as an inferior person if you don't know English. If you understand this properly, in fact, you will learn English very fast. One of the primary reasons people don't speak in English speaking crowd, I have seen these students who come, let us say if there is a get together of all the students of different schools and different colleges. Those students who are speaking in good English, they immediately start feeling superior than those students who are not able to express in English. This is so unfortunate. This should not happen. And whereas the data is very clear, there are a lot of studies which says that people who study in their mother tongue in general, they actually have better analytical abilities. They have better skills. So we have to overcome this British hangover that English is superior. So once we get into that, you will feel confident of expressing, even in your mother tongue. Third thing, why we hesitate to communicate in public, it's a simple hesitation. That person by nature is hesitant to not mix with others. For that, we should learn some small tricks of breaking communication. For example, if you are traveling somewhere, you can just introduce yourself first. Okay, introduce, then you can ask about their, hello, my name is Vivek Modi. I am traveling from Hyderabad to here. How about you? You can just break into communication. Now the other person also will talk. So like that, learn few phrases by which you learn to break into communication. Start initiating. You can appreciate something. Hey, I really liked your phone cover. Can you tell me from where did you get it? This is a breaking a communication. You don't actually are interested. You are not interested in phone cover, but this is a way to break into communication. Okay. So like that, learn some techniques by which you can start a communication. Okay. In fact, many people, because of this nature, they're hesitant to ask even help. How to ask help, they can't ask. How to ask a question, they can't ask. They are always very hesitant. So first point to become a good communicator is become a willing communicator. Don't keep silent. Your presence should matter. Your presence should be counted. If you are present there, people should notice you. I'm not telling just that create nuisance to get noticed. I'm telling speak your mind very, very positively, because nobody is perfect. You need not be perfect. Perfection is a process and it will come. The only thing possible to do for us is progress. Whatever way today I'm speaking, tomorrow if I can make it even 0.1% better, in 10 days I will be 1% better. In 100 days I will be 10% better. In 3 years I will be 100% better. So that's the only way. Okay. Now coming to the other parts of communication. See, because of the time constraint, I will directly go into the English part, because otherwise we'll not be able to cover everything. So there are 3 things required to learn anything, not just communication. In fact, somebody wants to learn a new business, somebody wants to learn a swimming or painting or singing. There are 3 things only required in any kind of learning. And many of you might have heard these 3 things are called ASK: attitude, skill, and knowledge. Now, when it comes to English speaking, the first part is attitude. Attitude of speaking in English is required. Language, speaking part cannot happen without practice. One person can sit and mug up the whole grammar, practice, can get 100% marks in English, but still, if that person is not speaking English in day-to-day use, that person will not be able to be very fluent in English. There is no other way. And it is not true for English. Every language. You go to Tamil Nadu, if you start speaking in Tamil, slowly in 1 month, you will start understanding basic Tamil. With the English problem is, because it has been given a status, many people wait for ideal situation to speak. There is no ideal situation. There is no ideal time. Every time is right time for a right action. And there is no time right for a wrong action. So you need to start developing this attitude of speaking in English. If you want to develop English communication, and I'm talking only about English speaking, I'm not talking about writing, because approach for that may be different. Okay, that is what I did in English in my medical college. I told to myself, next 100 days I will speak, read, listen, watch only English. I will watch only English television. I will read only English books. I will talk only in English. Even if I am wrong, even if people laugh, doesn't matter. Because I am confident enough. I know that just by English, I do not become superior or inferior. I need this language to learn, because I have to communicate with my friends. In medical college, lectures are happening in English. I need to develop this ability. Therefore, I have to learn. And with that mindset, I started. Attitude, my first point in attitude is creating an intense desire for learning anything. You want to learn a business, first point, if you want to develop good attitude, create an intense desire. And for intense desire, get to know about all the benefits. Uska benefit kya hoga? What will happen if I learn this thing? Once you know, it creates desire. Second point in attitude, I'll quickly move, is ability to handle setbacks. Ability to handle setbacks. Are you a person who give up at the first instance of failure? Or are you a person who is ready to take a stance and move forward with confidence? Even while learning a bike, people will fumble. There will be accidents in the beginning. Now, are you a person who give up after the first accident, or you are a person who says, no problem, I will learn it again? Because when you start speaking also, there will be fumble. People will not be able to, some of the people will make fun of you. Some of the people may not be very impressed. Mahatma Gandhi, when he was trying to, if you read his book, My Experiments with Truth, when he was trying to deliver his first speech in South Africa, he became very, very nervous and he didn't even speak. He came out of that. So this happened to even all the great people as well. So it really doesn't matter if we fail. The important point is, can you handle setbacks? Don't call it failure, because no failure is permanent. Call it a setback. Okay, I tried, it did not work, no problem. Next time I will practice little more and I will try. So that is second point in attitude. And third thing in attitude comes is your ability to persist. Can you persistently keep on doing it? If you have given a 100-day commitment, can you really take it to 100 days? Or you give up on 30th day? That is very important. If we do not persist, we cannot master anything. It's very, very important to do something for a long time. That itself is a big advantage. If you can give yourself that exposure of talking in English for a long time, it itself will make you a good learner of English. The second point come in after attitude, it comes knowledge and skill. Knowledge is nothing but knowing about the language. I call it take a driver-centric approach and don't take a mechanic-centric approach. Those who have watched my earlier videos, I have explained this concept on my channel as well as on Impact channel. So what is that driver-centric approach? You see a driver and a mechanic. If two people are there, and let us say if there is a car standing there, if there is a car, both drive the car. But who can drive it well? Driver can drive it well because that's his job. Mechanic also can drive, but driver can drive it better than mechanic because he is driving it daily. But who knows about the car more? Mechanic knows about the car more. Driver can drive it well, mechanic knows about the car more. Similarly, if somebody wants to just improve a language, let us say somebody wants to just learn English speaking. He is not interested in becoming a good writer or a literary person or an English expert. If the person is only aiming that I should be able to communicate while speaking in proper English fluently without making many mistakes, if that is the aim, then take a driver-centric approach. For becoming a driver, you don't need to become a mechanic. For becoming a driver, you don't need to become a mechanic. You don't need to understand how the car functions to learn how to drive the car. Similarly, to speak any language, you don't need to get into the nuts and bolts of the language. What you need is just start speaking. That is how we learned our mother tongue, Telugu or Hindi or whatever language you speak. You started speaking your mother tongue even before you could read it, even before you knew the grammar, even before we went to school, we were speaking our mother tongue. Why? Because we directly sat on the driving seat and started driving. We looked at our surroundings. We looked at our Anna, Akka, our parents. We looked at surroundings and we started copying them. That's the exact method in English also. There is no special method. Just look at the people around. How are they speaking? And follow the people who can speak well. Note down the sentences. From here comes the second approach, is that stop learning words. Start learning sentences. This is a very important thing to remember. Stop learning words. Start learning sentences. Complete expressions. If you want to become good in speaking, then take a driver-centric approach. Don't become mechanic. You don't first learn grammar and then speak. That is an unfortunate approach people are taking. I am not telling grammar is not important. Grammar is very important, but the approach to learn it should be speaking-centric, not grammar-centric. Automatically, grammar will come. There is something called linguistic intelligence. This is the intelligence we all have. What is linguistic intelligence? As we grow and we learn enough correct sentences, our mind can automatically understand the grammar part without knowing the rules. In fact, you are speaking in good Telugu or good Hindi not because you have learned in Telugu grammar, because you have enough correct sentences registered in your mind. in your mother tongue. So your mind automatically knows what is a right sentence and what is a wrong sentence without knowing the rules of the grammar. Similarly, in English also, once your mind registers enough correct sentences, you will automatically learn how to use a sentence in a particular situation. The grammar will be a byproduct of enough collection of correct sentences. So start learning usable sentences. In the knowledge part, the important correction here, especially about English, is here whenever people want to learn English, they start collecting sentences which they will use in a speech. Some high sounding sentences which we'll never use in common day-to-day use. Don't learn that sentence. First aim is learn those sentences which you can use in your day-to-day common uses. Situations like, how will I talk over a breakfast? How will I talk about a movie? Let us say if somebody has, there is a conversation happening about lockdown, how will you present my views? Let us say you watched a movie, how will you give a feedback about movie? Let us say it's started raining suddenly, how will you talk about the weather? There are few sentences for each situation. Note down those sentences and learn how to speak them. So that is very, very important part is correct calibration of the target. Don't aim to become a professional speaker who is speaking on the stage in front of thousands of public with a very polished English, because that will hardly happen once in a year or once in a blue moon. What will happen regular? First master that. Can I speak about, describe a personality, talk about your favorite teacher, describe a person who is not very good, talk about your boss. How will you describe that personality? Note down few sentences, 10 sentences, and revise them, master them, internalize them. Once it becomes part of your permanent memory, they will become automatic. So that is the next point here in knowledge is take relevant knowledge first. Don't take knowledge which is not relevant, which is not usable. In the English part, I have seen often people are fascinated with words which are never used, which nobody understands, where pronunciation is very difficult. Don't get into that trap. Take those phrases which are usable and start using them correctly. For example, if somebody is telling you, hey, did you drink tea? Now you should correct this. You don't drink tea, you have tea or you take tea, right? So correct that. First correct that rather than using some high sounded, first correct these things. Hey, rain is coming, people say here, rain is coming. And I ask them, kahan se aa rahi hai? Rain is not coming, it is raining. Now see, these small corrections we need to make. How do we pass our complete day, morning to evening, with perfect use of any language? And you don't need many sentences. Few hundred sentences and you will become comfortable in passing your day in that language. If that happens, what will happen? There will be a very interesting thing happen. Once you become comfortable in expressing your general views in any language, you lose the fear. Now you can become part of any discussion. Now you gain that confidence, and with that confidence, your learning becomes very fast. So take the first 2-3 steps with lot of effort, revision, and lot of confidence. If a driver is practicing every day, definitely he is going to become a good driver. So that's the approach. Don't try to be mechanic. Don't try to get into unnecessary grammatical rule. Again, I'm saying once again so that people don't misunderstand. I am not saying grammar is not important. Grammar is extremely important. What I am saying is that you have to take driver-centric approach. Grammar will automatically come with your linguistic intelligence. Your mind will know what is right and what is wrong. Okay. So learn correct, usable sentences. Underline each word, correct and usable. Don't try to learn sentences which are incorrect. Don't become comfortable with wrong English. That is another problem. So many people have become comfortable with wrong English. That will not help. We have to correct. Even today, I get corrected by sometimes by my friends, because I am not a person who has come from an English medium background. And if they correct, I don't mind in correcting myself. Sometimes you are wrong in pronunciation. Sometimes you are wrong in using a particular phrase. So all that it's a lifelong process. It will always go. Now, third part comes in learning anything is skill. I told about attitude. Then I told about knowledge part. Then I'm telling third part is skill. What is skill? Skill is nothing but making it from manual to automatic. I'm simplifying it. What is skill? Making it from manual to automatic. Okay. And how skill is developed? By repetition, 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 and repetition. Revision, 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 revision. It creates a reflex in our mind. There are new pathways developed. Myelin is developed in that circuit, which makes our actions automatic. Presently, when you are speaking, maybe you have to think and speak. But if you speak regularly few phrases, it will become automatic. That is the skill. So in my medical college, what I did is I used to learn 5 sentences every day. Some of you may be thinking only 5. See, learning only 5 sentences is very easy. But converting it into skill, it requires practice. So I used to learn 5 sentences and I used to practice it every day 5 times. 5 times after getting up once, before breakfast once, before lunch once, before dinner once, and before sleeping once. Like that, I used to, in fact, I have explained this everything in the video on my channel. And even on the Impact platforms, there are English videos about how I improved my English. You can, after this, you can go and watch that. So my channel is Dr. Vivek Modi. On that, you will find how I improve my English. In detail, I have explained. So in interest of time, I'll move ahead in the last point, and after that, I'll take your questions. So in 2 minutes, I'm going to complete. Now the problem, I'll tell you one thing. After this video is over, so many people will message to Gampa sir and to me and to so many people. And what they will say, sir, give me some tips about English. I'm really sometimes so surprised that after giving so many tips, still I don't know what special tips people want. You know, some people will say, sir, in my area nobody speaks English. How will I speak? I'll tell you one thing. In today's world, see, when I was learning my English, there was no mobile phone in our hands. Okay, in 2004, mobile phone was very, very expensive. So we did not have mobile phone. I used to listen English news followed by Hindi news, followed by English news. And I used to note down sentences. I used to listen to my professor and note down sentences. Today, majority of us, at least whoever is using this Zoom, all of you have a smartphone. And you have a button to press on YouTube. There are thousands of videos, interviews. So what I suggest you, if you're not having people around you who speak in English, look at the interviews. Why I'm talking about interviews? Because in interview, people talk conversational English. See, in speeches, we will use some phrases which we don't use in common, day-to-day uses. But in a conversation, when somebody is talking about his life or on a topic, if they are discussing, then they will use language which is conversational. Look at those interviews. And my suggestion is, rather than looking 10 interviews in one day, look at one interview for 10 continuous days. That will give you more. It is a proven strategy. Rather than reading one book, read books which are conversational. Novels where two people are talking to each other. Read those books. And rather than reading 10 books once, read one book 10 times. It will automatically internalize few sentences in your mind and you will start using them without even your knowledge. You will become comfortable with that. So give yourself that exposure. The more and more exposure you give, the better it will be. Somebody is writing grammar is mandatory. Yes, I completely agree. Grammar is extremely mandatory. That is why I'm telling you, learn correct sentences. I'm not telling that learn grammatically wrong sentences. Only thing I'm telling that people who want to just speak and not become an expert of English language, they should take the approach of sentence learning and not grammar learning first. In fact, when I was trying to learn English, the people, I attended a spoken English class and they were teaching me present tense, past tense, future tense, active voice, passive voice, subject, verb, agreement, preposition, all those things. I told I have good marks in English subject. That is not my problem. I know the grammar. Some basic grammar we have all studied in school. My problem is when I'm speaking, I don't get words. I get stuck. I can even understand what others are speaking, but I am not able to speak. So, I had to leave that class because they were hell-bent on teaching me grammar first. I humbly disagree that for those people who want to just learn speaking English, the approach should be learn correct, usable sentences. Sentences where grammar is perfect. So yes, you have to follow correct grammar, but you don't have to first learn grammar and then learn sentences. I would say learn enough correct sentences, you will automatically learn basic grammar. You may not be able to know the rules, but your mind will automatically know what is the right pattern, what is the right way to say it. Because I know there are many English teachers, and I humbly say it with a lot of humility, without any arrogance. I know English teachers who know perfect grammar but who can't speak good English. And I'm sure some of you would agree with me. So they know grammar. They will find mistakes in whoever is speaking English. But you tell them to talk in English fluently, they will get stuck. They don't have the fluency. So I'm not disputing the fact that grammar is not important. Grammar is extremely important. And if somebody can learn grammar side by side, it is very good. But if you want to only improve your speaking English, then the approach is learn correct, usable sentences. That is how you know your mother tongue. If you want to become as good as your mother tongue you can speak, then the approach is driver centric. It means get on the driving seat and start driving. You will automatically know the driving rules. You will automatically know all the basics. So that's my humble suggestion. Okay, now I'm coming to the last point. In between, because of this, I came into there was a diversion. Last point is, whatever things we have discussed today about communication, I have not, in fact, spoke in detail about communication because the time is limited. But whatever we have spoken, we have discussed today, in this, the real point is, from now onwards, are you really going to take action? Or you are still waiting for best strategy, best books, best video, best teacher? Don't do that. My humble suggestion is, find your everyday usable sentences. For some of you, maybe 3, 5, 10, depending on your ability to give time to it. Find usable sentences and start practicing every day, at least for 1 hour, speaking in English with someone. If English communication is your challenge. And if English communication is not your challenge, then there are many other things about communication. There's body language, there are facial expression, gestures, postures, so many other things. So you can find those on videos. You can go to Gampa Search channel, Impact channel, or you can go to my channel. Even I have uploaded few videos on this communication. In this lockdown period, I have made few videos. So you can look at those things, try to apply. But English, the last point I'm again highlighting is, ask yourself a question. What is the action you are taking after seeing these videos? Are you just seeing videos and forgetting about it? Or are you really taking action? Where are your 5 sentences for today? How many times have you practiced? And how many days you have done it? If you give that answer in affirmation, yes, I am collecting my correct sentences, yes, I am using it, then definitely you will improve English in few weeks. It is a matter of few weeks, depending on at what level you are today. For someone, it will take few weeks. For someone, it may take few months. Doesn't matter. It is worth spending that much energy because it will give you a lot of returns. In our country, India, knowing English gives a lot of advantage. I don't know about the other part of the world, but in India, if you speak in good English, at least for the initial phase, you are at advantage. So take that advantage. Okay, so with this, I will close today's session. I will stop, and I am open to take few questions if you have. Thank you so much.
There is a one question from Krupakar. How to increase our pronunciation and how to make myself as a effective speaker?
Yeah. So speaking pronunciation is again a part of practice. See, there are 2 schools of thoughts here. One is that you should speak in an accent which is like British accent or American accent. In fact, many people in my videos on YouTube, I have seen, on my channel, I have seen some comments that, sir, your accent is Indian accent. It is not the original accent. So my view is you should use the accent and pronunciation which is, suitable for that country. Second thing about pronunciation is try to check it from the people who can speak well. News anchors are some good people to take your pronunciation from, because they're one of the requirements of becoming a news anchor, they should be perfectly fluent and their pronunciation should be perfect in that language. So watch them carefully and try to listen those words carefully, and then you speak with the same pronunciation. There are many other websites nowadays like dictionary.com, vocabulary.com. If you have any doubt about how this word is pronounced, just go on that website, write that word, and it will speak and tell you how to pronounce it. It will also say what is American pronunciation, what is British pronunciation. So just learn that. It is not a big thing, but pronunciation is second part. First is using correct sentences. Second, slowly improve your pronunciation also.
Yes. Yeah, it is possible to learn English in 1 month.
It is possible. Again, it depends on at what level you stand. For me, it was frankly speaking less than 1 month. In 3 weeks, I had become comfortable. And before starting, I could not speak to anyone even few sentences properly in English. The moment I used to raise my hand in my classroom, in my medical college, people used to laugh. That was my situation. From that, in 3 weeks, people started telling me, hey, Vivek, your English has become really good. So yes, in 1 month, you can become fairly good. I will not say you'll become expert. You will come at a comfortable level to speak on general things. Yes.
Yes. What is the role of pronunciation? How to modify it?
I already told you, pronunciation is very important. See, your effectiveness of English. In fact, if your pronunciation is not correct, you will be failed to create a correct impression. So pronunciation plays a very important role in my view. Okay, but to begin with, I will say focus should be on correct sentences, and slowly as you become more and more conversant, as you increase your comfort level, you can work on pronunciation. It's a lifelong thing. Even today, I pronounce few words wrongly, and I'm corrected by my wife or by some people who know better English than me. So there is nothing wrong. Keep on trying in pronunciation. You see how many English people feel sad about not being able to speak Indian. English people speak Hindi or any other language, and how they completely distort the word. Even the names they do not pronounce correctly. They don't feel guilty of that. So my only point is, yes, pronunciation is very important to bring a correct impression and correct impact of your language, but don't feel guilty if you are not perfect in that. At the same time, don't become comfortable with wrong pronunciation. Keep on improving it. Yes.
Yes, there is a question from Krupakar Reddy.
Yes.
Is it a right way to learn English words by reading English newspaper?
See, here I have a different point. English newspaper used to be a way when there was so much social media, so much internet, not very accessible. It is not a bad strategy, but I would say there are better options, because again, here the newspaper language is not the language which we use in daily communication. That is why I would not give it first preference. Yes, if you are a competitive exam student, if you have to write essays, if you have to prepare something on your general knowledge as well as your speaking, then you can look at newspaper as primary source. But otherwise, I would still go to other situational talks as a more important view, where somebody is talking about food, somebody is talking about a movie, somebody is talking about a cricket match, these are more real day-to-day scenarios which we used to first master. So that is my answer. Newspaper is okay, but not the best choice. Thank you so much, Gampa sir, for giving this opportunity.
Okay.
All the best to Impact, sir.